Good afternoon. I would now like to call to order our meeting today for the Allegheny County Board of Education, Tuesday, December 13th at 5:04 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Llewellyn will now read closed session summaries for executive sessions held on November 15th.
The purpose of the closed session was to consult with legal counsel, discuss personnel matters, and engage in administrative function. 4 board members were in attendance, and the vote to go into executive session was unanimous. The topics discussed were discipline of employee, prosecution of criminal trespass and wiretapping, director of information technology position, school employee positions, IT position update, and possible transportation acquisition. The authority to close as found in the General Provision Article 3305B 1, 7, and 14.
Thank you, Mr. Llewellyn. At this time, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Farrell, a second. Second by Ms. Frank. All those in favor? Passes unanimously. Thank you. Moving into the superintendent's report, we have Mr. Jeff Avery, who is going to recognize our student Christmas card design winners.
I told myself I'd remember to turn that on. Happy holidays, everyone. While that humble little verbal greeting may appear sincere, it's nothing compared to the genuine greetings I've seen with my own eyes in the form of holiday greeting cards generated through time and effort by scores of students in our system with digital technology, pen, pencil, color, and the nuance of steady hands. I'm pleased to announce that back from the pandemic is the tradition of art classes generating art holiday greeting cards. And this process of selection began with art students this year, primarily from the Mountain Ridge District, generating cards in the fall that were reviewed by a panel consisting of myself and a few other designees. We created finalists, and the board selected the winners in 4 categories. Those finalists whose cards were selected are here this evening, and they will be recognized. They will each receive a gift card from the central office and a certificate of recognition. Starting off, I'm delighted to recognize the winner in a brand new category making its way to this presentation for the very first time. You see, advancements in course offerings at our Career Center have expanded programming in digital graphic design. And as a result, I'd like to introduce the first ever winner of the category of holiday card created by digital graphic design with this card. Beautifully created with digital imagery by the first ever winner, Miss Ebony Prince. Ebony is in the 12th grade at the Career Center, and she is here with her mother and is dutifully taught by Mr. Michael Shockey, who could not be here this evening. Now, I don't know how closely everyone's paying attention, but if you look at all the ornaments on the tree, they represent all of the schools in Allegany County. It is a very clever design up close and from afar. Ebony, congratulations.
Thank you.
And well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we move now to cards selected by our board that were drawn and colored in art classes, and we begin with this card created by our elementary winner. This card was created by a fourth grade student at Georges Creek Elementary School, and the student's name is Miss Bailey Junkins. We didn't think Bailey was going to make it, and so we gave her packet to her teacher, who's going to give it to her in school. But she's here after all with her father. So let's welcome Bailey up here to receive some recognition at least. Bailey, congratulations. Do you see your card up there on the screen? That's, you did that, kiddo. Congratulations. Job well done. Thank you very much. She's dutifully taught by Mr. John Seibert, who was actually here to support her, and there was a misunderstanding, and he left with her stuff. But that's okay. That's okay. Blessed are the flexible. I'd like to do our middle school card next, if we want to put that up on display. Here is our winning middle school holiday card. Our middle school holiday card winner is Miss Emmeline DeRizo. Come on up. She's a 7th grade student at Mount Savage. Go ahead and turn. There you go. She is a 7th grade student at Mount Savage Middle School. She is here with her parents and her art teacher, Miss Carol Logston, who is here. Emmeline, there's your card from a distance, and here is your token of appreciation from the central office. Congratulations. Job well done. Thank you. And we can display the high school art class winner. This is our high school holiday card, and it comes to us from Miss Brooke Weslow's Honors Art 3 class at Mountain Ridge High School. While Miss Weslow cannot be here, the person who created this card and was selected as the holiday card recipient is, please welcome Miss Allison Levitt. Allison is in the 12th grade. Allison, I hope you're as pleased with your work as we are. Congratulations. Here's a token of appreciation from the central office. Job well done. Thank you very much. Maybe we've launched a few careers in graphic design tonight. The process was rigorous. I know you had a difficult time selecting cards. It was very difficult for us to pick finalists. There were several outstanding cards. Kudos to the students all through that district and their dedicated teachers for an excellent job they do on a daily basis with our kids.
Mr. Avey, I just want to take a minute to thank you. You've been here for the last 2 board meetings with your leadership under the creative arts through the music and the arts. And to our staff, always doing a fantastic job with our students. And for our students, I can't draw a straight line, so I'm very envious of how well I would love to be able to even come close to drawing anything like you all have drawn. So congratulations, and hopefully that'll always be, if nothing else, a hobby, or wherever you venture next, that's something you can use for the rest of your life, as how talented all 4 that we got to see tonight. So congratulations to everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Avey. Are they all here?
Yes.
Okay, we have a cross-country student to recognize at this time, Coach Doug Baker and Principal Danny Carter.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to come and speak on behalf of a student. In this case, this is a real student athlete, too. I'll try to speak up a little bit, and I'm going to talk for 53 seconds about Mary. That's okay. She is a 3-season consecutive state champion. And I don't know where they keep stats or records for that kind of thing, but to win the state championship in an event in the winter, the spring, and then to come around and win, and there's only one. It's not track. There's only one champion in 1A cross country, and that's Mary. It just separates her, and maybe we don't talk enough, but she is an elite athlete. She's an exceptional academic student, and she is without a doubt a special person. Specific about that event, Mary will tell you she does not like that course. She told me when we got there, I don't like this course. So why did I do that? I set that timer so when I started talking, Mary finished. When that timer went off, the second place person came across the line. It was 53 seconds. In most track meets, it's like bang, bang. But it was an impressive win that at that level you just don't see. So I thought I would just kind of sneak in a little novelty there to try to exemplify what I saw that day. It's unbelievable. So I was trying to find out what to tell her. I'm standing there thinking, I got to get her with the right frame of mind before this race starts. And there's 100 kids there all lined up, and they get in these little circles. I'm sitting there trying to come up with the words, and I turned around, and this is what I saw. I saw Mary and her sister giving each other a hug. I saw Anna back away, and I saw Mary grab her and pull her closer. And I looked at them, and I said, there's nothing to worry here. You guys are in good shape. You're good kids. You're behind each other. You're supporting each other. This will be simple. And daggone it, she took off, and nobody was within eyesight of her. There's a place down at Hereford that's called the Dip. And it's a big hill that goes down that comes back up. And you pretty much know who's going to win the race, not the first time, but the second time they come back. So when Mary came back the second time, she came all the way down the hill and went all the way up the hill, and it is a long distance. And away she went, and away she went, and I saw her. And then here came the next girl. So as a coach, she made it very relaxing for us that day. I don't know if she knew how nervous we get before the events, because we want her to do well. And we want to, there's just a lot of pressure. You have an exceptional athlete. You don't know if you trained her right. You only have one shot to do it. And daggone it, we really nailed it. And not we, she did. That's also embarrassing. I have to tell you, I've had so many people congratulate me. And it's so hard to take in congratulations for what she has accomplished. It's very difficult. It's a completely different level when the athlete does it. I do take some compliments for coaching. It's very rewarding. But it's not my legs. It's not my determination. It's Mary's. So the last thing I would say, her time was 1957. I think she would have beat the school record. I really do, if somebody would have ran with her. I think she needed about 8 to 10 seconds. I can't remember. I don't know those numbers real well, but she was very close, which says also something about her. And a time when she could relax and pull back and just cruise, nope, away she went. That same determination, that same speed the whole way through the race. So with her ability, we also were able to send both of our teams this year, our girls team and our guys team, for the first time since 2012. Our girls finished 5th at the race, and our boys team finished 6th. So we ended with the Turkey Day race. We run up at our school. We had 400 people that showed up to run. The kids all came and helped. It was a very successful season, but it takes special people to make for a special season, and Mary certainly is among the elite. So that's what I had to say for you today. Thank you for recognizing her. She's going to go on and do bigger things. I really think that we're going to go through this. I bet I'm back here 2 more seasons. But if I'm not, she's still going to do great things. Congratulations.
Don't run off. Congratulations, Coach Baker. As always, it's not just about the sport, but it's also about teaching kids growing up and learning all different kind of things that they'll carry with them beyond the sport. I hear that all the time about you, so very, very much appreciated. And I have a story. I come back, you get back, I'm walking on a hill on the night after, and I hear somebody coming. It's dark out, and I see a little light on an arm, and it's right after this, the next night. How many miles you run a night?
It depends.
On average?
Probably like 4.
4? You're not in front of the microphone, so I'm repeating. No, you're okay. I'm repeating it for you. You run about 4 miles a night, and depending on whether you have a meet, I get all that. But my point is the dedication. It's just part of the routine, I'm sure. I didn't say anything to you because when you went by me, it was like a cool breeze flying by me. I thought, I'm not yelling. I don't know if you have plugged. Do you listen to music when you're running?
Sometimes.
Yeah, so anyhow, congratulations. And from the cross-country meets that I've attended, it's just amazing. It really is. So congratulations to you, and congratulations to your support, your family, and everybody at home. I know it takes a lot to you don't just naturally become as talented as you are, and you've learned how to be follow the agenda and be disciplined. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Mary. Thank you, Coach Baker.
It's an indoor track next, right?
We were there last Saturday, and she was flying around the track. Thank you.
I didn't see.
Okay, we're recognizing players of the homecoming game, Principal Cannon, Coach Alkire, Principal Loppert, and Coach Hensel.
Caden Bratton. I always said in radio interviews this year, he's the last of a dying breed. A 3-sport athlete that does not run from competition, does not back down, does not quit. He played through several injuries this year without complaint, without asking to be taken out, even fought us at times when we tried to take him out. I'm lucky to have coached him. The best part of him is he's an even better student in person than he is an athlete. I'm proud of him. We were lucky to call him ours. Couldn't be more proud to be his coach. Love the kid through thick and thin and do anything to support him the rest of his life. Caden Bratton. Congrats, man.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What's next?
I don't know yet. I don't know what sport yet I want to play. Football or baseball. I'd like to go to Frostburg State, do nursing there, and either play baseball or football.
Yeah. Very impressive. Congratulations. I've enjoyed watching you play all through. And congratulations, Mom, Dad. Your mother was a very good student. but congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, guys. On me, I guess. Okay. No, he thought it was at the Career Center because of last year. He's actually walking in now.
Oh, we can wait. We can wait.
Okay. Yep. You're gonna stand underneath the clock. You're gonna stand underneath the clock. Oh.
You can stand there if you want.
Take your hood down, Tony.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
They're staring at you through there, yeah.
Yep. All right. So we have Tony Palmazzano here. Tony was the defensive player of the game, the homecoming game this year. Tony's had a great career for us. He actually talked to me before the homecoming game and said that his goal was to be back-to-back defensive player of the year, and I kind of chuckled at him. Typically, cornerbacks don't get defensive player of the year once, and he ended up getting it twice. So Congratulations to Tony Palmisano on Defensive Player of the Year for the homecoming game.
Tony, what's next?
I'm gonna try to play college football at the next level, and that's it.
Do you know what you want to study?
Yeah, I'm not sure yet.
Not yet. Well, good luck. Congratulations.
You can stay here. Have those guys come in.
Okay, at this time, we're going to recognize our state championship winners.
Come back
Coach
up here
Alkire.
Head off. Just gonna stand up there again. That's all right. You're good. You're fine. Yeah. All right. First, I'd like to thank the Board of Education, all the members, everybody involved with having us here today to recognize us, but also for making the trip down to the state game and being at a number of different games that we had this year. Talked to Mr. Blank yesterday, and he talked about all the different sporting events that he goes to. So it's really appreciated when you guys show up. The kids enjoy it, the coaches enjoy it. I think the community enjoys it. So appreciate that. Also, lots of thanks to our administration, all of our parents and all of our groups, the F Club, the cheerleaders, the band, the parent group, but most importantly, the players. They work really hard. We had 37 kids on the team this year, and combined GPA for those kids is 3.8. So they work hard in the classroom too. Not only do they work hard in the classroom, but many of them play 3 sports. Of our 37 kids, 20 kids play 3 sports. Another 12 play 2 sports. So they work hard in the classroom. They work hard on the athletic fields. And of our 17 seniors, 5 of them are looking to play college football. And you know, we don't know exactly where they're going to be yet, but just to have those aspirations is a really big deal. So lots of credit to those guys. Also like to give a lot of credit to Mountain Ridge. 2 consecutive years they've had the second best team in the state of Maryland. They worked extremely hard too. They deserve everything that they got in terms of getting down to states. So lots of kudos to Coach Patterson and his group.
Coach Alkire, congratulations to you and your staff at the Victory Assembly yesterday. It was impressive. The entire school and so many different groups are a part of the football team, which we appreciate recognizing everybody. Was that yesterday?
Yes.
Yep.
Yesterday. Who do we have here, and what grade are we in? I know Tony, so we'll keep going.
Bill Daniels, he'll be here for another 2 years. He's just a sophomore. Ended up getting a lot of playing time there at the playoffs, and was a big catalyst for us down the stretch. Next 3 are seniors. You have Tony Palmisano, Landon Keach, and Quinn Cohen. Quinn was the kid that kicked the game winner. Landon's been 2-year starter for us on defense, as well as Tony. And then you have junior Braden Sines, who was an offensive lineman for us this year.
What's the plans for our 2 seniors? I already talked. The other 2. I already got one. The other 2 seniors. What's your plans?
I'm still waiting to figure out where I'm going to college, decide if I'm playing football there or not yet. But so far, I've been accepted from Ohio State and still have a couple others to hear from. So.
What do you want to study? What do you want to be?
Aerospace engineering.
Okay.
Still deciding, either go into a trade or go straight to work.
Okay. Congratulations to the players. Very impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, at this time, we have Dr. Main to provide us with the blueprint update.
Won't have anything much fun after all that. So, thanks for having me back. So we are moving on blueprints. So it's an exciting time. Mr. Blank asked me to come and just give a brief update on where we are. So I don't know if I remember how to do this. Aha. So We have documents. We have final documents, which is, if you've followed Blueprint at all, that's exciting. So on December 1st, the AIB, which is the accountability board for the Blueprint, reviewed and approved a final comprehensive blueprint plan. So it's a lengthy document. There is a marked up and edited final version online, but they are going to publish a final version here. They said by the 15th, so hopefully sometime this week. The important thing about the comprehensive implementation plan is that it is an outline of the law that goes through 2032, and it includes all tasks and subtasks and objectives for all entities within the legislation. So, for example, the comprehensive plan has stuff that the governor shall do, that Department of Social Services shall do, that local systems, institutes of higher ed. So it is a comprehensive piece. Beyond this, and I've shared this before, the final timelines are out. They include task and subtask with a timeline. So they are also on the AIB website and very helpful, helping to drive our local plans and our local activities. The next piece of information is on the AIB website. There are recordings and materials for every AIB MSDE public meeting they've had, and it's very helpful to go back sometimes to remember, oh, what did they say about this? So all of that stuff's online available, as well as the materials, which we go back often to see. The next piece of information is in alignment with the AIB's comprehensive plan. The MSDE has published a final initial implementation plan template. This document is important to us because it has only what our system needs to do. So it is a template and a plan that's going to drive all our local plan. The only thing in it is activities for right now. It is a reasonable plan in that our first comprehensive implementation plan for Allegany County will be due March 15th of next year. And in that plan is activities that from 2021 through 2024. So it's really a summary of what we've done, what we are doing, and what we are planning to do. The next submission is due March 2024. That will take us another 3 years, and then there will be a final submission that will take us to 2032. So this is a public document. It is online, and it really is driving all of our efforts here in the county and around the state. There is, in support of the implementation template, MSDE has provided an implementation guidance plan with criteria for success. And that document really it's kind of the rule book. So it tells you that, for example, if a sample size is less than 10, we don't measure that. We need to put NA for not applicable. So it's got all of those kind of nuances, those rules. So we're looking at that pretty closely. The criteria for success is also in that document, and it has the rubric as to how we're going to be scored. Our plan will be scored. So it has a developing, ineffective, and effective, I think, are the three. Okay. So just a little piece of information about approval. When we are working with the MSDE and the AIB right now for technical assistance. They're giving us a lot of information. When we submit our plan in March, the MSDE has a group of reviewers that will look at that. They will send it back for revisions if needed, and MSDE will make a recommendation to the IEP whether or not to approve or not approve a plan. So the AIB is the entity that will ultimately approve our plans. This is just a review, lots of information on the AIB website as well as the MSDE Blueprint website. Also a review for major policy areas plus the governance and accountability. So we've talked about that a lot. This is a slide that I think I show every single time, but there are two major goals of the blueprint. One is to transform Maryland's early childhood, primary, and secondary education system to the levels of high-performing systems around the world. It is measured against the global educational system. and to establish a career ladder system for educators composed of levels through which teachers may progress and gain certain authority, status, and compensation. Those are the two major goals. The 4 areas: early childhood education, high quality and diverse teachers and leaders, college and career readiness, more resources to ensure that all students are successful, and finally, the governance piece. Our Blueprint Pillar teams are together. So that's a celebration. They have started meeting. We are digging into the template and into the legislation to see what we need to do locally. So before you is Pillar 1 with the chair of Jackie Enright, and you can see her team. For every team, it is kind of a living committee, so we will bring on people as it's necessary, as the blueprint calls for. So this is the core team, and then we will add members as needed. I won't go through every one of these, but just for a highlight for our early childhood, what we're working on during the submission is expanding full-day pre-K. We have 8 sites right now looking at expanding that, and we have developed and started the Westmore Early Childhood Center. The KRA has been administered to all students that that's appropriate for, and we do engage them in professional development annually for KRA. If anybody has any questions, please stop. This is just a review. Pillar 2 is the high quality and diverse teachers and leaders. Mr. Steve Wilson's the chair of that. He has developed his team, and we'll be bringing on other members soon as we start talking about higher ed, our partnerships with AC and Frostburg and others. Some of the highlights for Pillar 2 are really supporting and encouraging our teachers to be nationally board certified. We do currently have 11. They are receiving the supplement. And really thinking ahead to the career ladder and what that might look. So I know Mr. Wilson and his team are talking around the state to lots of people to see what that looks like for other systems, and lots of efforts in Pillar 2 right now. Pillar 3 is college and career readiness. Dr. Kim Caldwell is the chair of that. She has also developed her team and will bring in others from higher ed. Some of the things she's working on is really the 9th grade tracker, getting that in place, and also really exploring support pathways for students to become CCR. She will also explore options for dual enrollment, career and technical education, those types of things with our partners, our higher ed partners. Policy Area 4 is resources to ensure all students are successful. Debbie Matheny is the chair of that pillar. She has established a team and is meeting. Some of the highlights for Pillar 4 are the implementation placement of social emotional learning staff throughout our county. We do have concentration of poverty schools identified, and they are well on their way. They've already done their needs assessment and are implementing plans in that area. Mr. McKenzie's the chair of Policy Area 5, Governance and Accountability. We have met and we continue to meet and talk about any roadblocks or barriers that we feel we need to look at. We're really charged with really the quality control and project management of the whole template and the whole plan. So we are working with that and with Mr. Blank to make sure that that is completed. This is itty bitty tiny, but there are some implementation dates to be aware of. We'll start on 12/1, which I talked about. The template, the plan, and the guidance document were published and are final. Between 12/1 and March, we will engage our stakeholders. We will develop the plan, employ anybody that we need to come in to help kind of guide our work. In February, we will bring the blueprint the blueprint plan to you for approval and for input. Any input we get, we will take that back and make those edits, and we will submit by March 15th. We will, for sure. So some of the things that we have on the calendar planned, we are doing, I believe, 4 community meetings in January to get input from the public and any stakeholders we have. We are meeting with Mr. Blank regularly to update him on where we are in the plan. We've had meetings that we've discussed barriers with him and kind of ways around that. Our teams, our pillar teams will meet probably 4 times in January just to update each other, because some of the pillars are dependent upon each other. So to make sure that we have some cross collaboration. And hopefully we'll bring you we will bring you a fully developed plan in February to take a look at. And then any input you have, we will consider and make those edits. So.
Any questions for Dr. Main? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on to the finance report, we have Mr. McKenzie and Mr. Huber with the audit, and then Mr. McKenzie, if you can just stay for the monthly financial update.
At this time, I'd like to welcome Mr. Huber from the accounting firm of Huber, Michaels and Company. Mr. Huber is here to discuss the results of our fiscal 22 audit. So, welcome, Ed.
Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You have a report that you were provided on the front page. It says financial report. That is the audit for the June 30, 22 fiscal year. And I'll direct your attention to what is page 1, which is the report that's on our letterhead. And we've issued what we refer to as an unqualified opinion, and the purpose is to express when we as auditors conclude that the financial statements are presented fairly in all material respects. And if you'll notice on the second paragraph there, it says, in our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the governmental entities, the Board of Education of Allegany County. So we have issued an unmodified opinion with regard to the financial statements, which means simply that we agree with the presentation. If you would then turn to page 22. 22 reflects the balance sheet for the governmental funds. And the first column on the left side is the general fund, which is used to account for the general operations of the Board of Education. And the second item from the bottom there, you'll notice, is the total fund balance, $31,893,000. And some of that is allocated for specific purposes. $31,404,000 is unassigned. Then the next column over is the restricted fund, which is used to account for federal and state dollars that are set aside for specific purposes. There is no fund balance in that fund simply because what's allocated is spent on those purposes. There's not going to be a surplus or a deficit. If there was a deficit, it would have to be made up from the general fund. If there's a surplus, it's either carried over to the following year or would have to be returned. Next column is food service, and food service fund balance was $1,543,000. Then you have school construction, $12,127,000. In school construction, those monies have been set aside for various projects, either those that are planned or in the works for the future. Turn to page 24, which is the statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance. And again, starting with the left-hand column, third item from the bottom, reflects the surplus or deficit of each of those funds. And you'll see under the general fund, there was a deficit of $634,000 for this past fiscal year. But keep in mind that you all actually had budgeted for a deficit of $3.5 million. So and we'll look at this in a moment, that the budget to actual actually was positive overall. Restricted fund, as we said, doesn't have a surplus or a deficit. Food service had a surplus of $1,240,000, and school construction a surplus of $6,736,000. But keep in mind, school construction, as we said, those dollars are allocated from the state and some local dollars as well, but they are set aside for specific construction projects, and those dollars are already, most of them are already earmarked for those purposes. Turn to page 27. And page 27 is the Information Technology Fund Statement of Revenues and Expenses. And third item up from the bottom is the result, the net result for the fiscal year was a deficit of $58,000 in that particular fund. And that fund is the one where you share the computer operations with the county. Let's turn all the way back now to page 66 in the back. And there you have schedule of revenues, expenditures, where we're comparing the budget to the actual. First column was the original budget, second column was the final budget, and then the third column is the actual results, and then the fourth column is the difference between the final budget and the actual results. And under revenues, you can see it shows that there was a deficit, negative fund balance, or negative variance of $5,371,000. But there's two issues there. The first being that you had actually budgeted to use $3.5 million of your fund balance, which you didn't need to use. You actually only used $634,000 of the fund balance. And then the second issue, there's a difference there of $2,167,000 under state direct, but that was a matter of there were funds that were originally thought to be included in the general fund, ended up being in the restricted fund. So it wasn't as though you didn't receive that. You did receive those funds, but they weren't received into the general fund. So that explains the bulk of the variances there with regard to revenue. And then under expenditures, if you look at total expenditures, far right-hand column, there was a positive variance of $4,515,000, and the bulk of those dollars actually are a result of labor and labor-related costs, health insurance, retirements, and related payroll taxes. So I know there was a number of retirees that those positions occurred and they weren't filled with full-time positions. They were filled with permanent subs. And then also just a matter of that, as with everybody, it's difficult to find labor as well. And that's really all I have to add. I don't know if anybody has any questions about any of that.
Any questions for Mr. Huber? No, he's not doing it. No. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Huber.
All right, thank
Sorry,
you.
we were trying to figure out what was next.
Thank you.
I'd also like to thank Ed and his staff for their diligence and professionalism throughout the course of the audit. They are great to work with, and we do have a great working relationship between our staff and the firm. Also want to recognize our staff for their hard work as well. So, thank you. Thank you, Larry. Okay. The financial information, financial update was was also on the agenda. That was presented as part of the consent agenda. But are there any questions relative to the financial information that you'd like me to answer?
Just a few questions because of the variance to the prior year were over in almost in all of the key ones that you have on here,
Sure.
right? So, is there any concern in the past years we've had concern with healthcare costs before when we started to overrun, so to speak? And then the other one that was
Well, there's a couple to call out. As you mentioned, I think we are seeing. I think the equipment is more than likely a timing type thing. If you look at special ed, we are a couple $100,000 ahead of last year. And in speaking to Mrs. Matheny, we do have more students that are requiring more extensive help, and as a result, that has increased. But if you look at that compared to, so we've spent 36% of our budget, and last year we ended up, we were kind of right on track, still at 36% of what we ultimately spent. So I'm less concerned there. Transportation, same kind of thing. We're 147,000 higher than last year, but trending well relative to budget. I think you'll recall whenever we were going through the budget this past spring, we knew the cost of fuel was going to be increasing. So that's certainly one of those areas. You point out healthcare costs, and that is a concern. Quite frankly, we have seen an increase, substantial increase in our healthcare claims this year. You'll recall last year, but the hope is that we're going to get to a point. You'll recall last year, claims started to increase in like January, February. So the hope is that this year, whenever we get there, we'll be able to start clawing back some of that. Some of last year's overage, comparatively speaking. That being said, the way the healthcare works, we do have a liability on our balance sheet that we do think is more than adequate to cover any shortfall that we may experience this year.
And my only other question, since the audit did give us the fund balance at the end of June, and I know, at least I believe we've used some of that fund balance after June.
In this year's budget, we have, I think the budget we had 4.3 million approximately, or 4.5 million that we were going to be utilizing. And then, I think as a board we had talked about utilizing some additional funds for creative art projects. And then we did hear positive news from the state in terms of what the Fort Hill project, the boiler projects, that we should be able to use CARES funding for that. So the additional concern about dipping into fund balance for the boiler project should not be an issue.
And then the last question, just in years past when I was here and the healthcare was an issue, we had to dip into the fund balance to cover that. Is that the liability that you're saying that we, if something were to happen like it did years ago?
That would be, we have to keep on our balance sheet a liability basically that covers the run out of expenses for a certain period of time. It's called the IBNR, and right now we have a surplus over and above what that IBNR is that should cover any shortfalls that we have in our healthcare.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions for Mr. McKenzie? Okay, thank you very much, Mr. McKenzie.
Mr. McKenzie, congratulations to you and your staff with the success of the audit. I know that took a lot of hard work and a lot of different challenges with the CARES and the ESSERS, all the different funds. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, we have a Next Gen Scholars update from Mr. Webb, who's been waiting very patiently back there.
Good evening. Thanks for having me today. And on behalf of the Maryland Business Roundtable for Education, thanks for allowing me to support the kids of Allegany County. So this is my second year in the position. I came right in the middle of COVID. This is the 6th year the Next Gen Scholar Program has been in Allegany County. So I'm going to go through what we did last year and what we have upcoming in year 6. Year 5, we had 92 students. We started recruiting 10th graders around September of last year. And we did 10 programs, 226 sessions, and 14 classroom sessions. MBRT has provided $2.65 million in grants to 107 students. Those are students that have self-reported. In Allegany County, we had 6 students self-report the grants, and we had close to $50,000 to those 6 students that reported. And all the reporting is self-reporting from students. One of my main jobs last year was I felt like building connections in the community to have students seek something outside of high school. So these are some of the places that provided volunteer opportunities, provided us to tour their facilities, and came into our high schools to share some of their experiences to 9th, 10th, and 11th, and 12th grade students. This is our framework. 10th grade is to explore. We do a career tour, and we also do a career inventory in the classroom of all the English classrooms. We completed 9 classrooms just on Monday, and over 120 of the sophomores were able to get that information. We are starting our resume with the 11th graders next week and a mock interview with some of the local businesses in January. We already have 2 confirmed, and we hope to have a big event in the small gym. And for the 12th graders, it's financial literacy. We usually have somebody from a local bank come in, talk about credits and loans and college loans, and we don't want anyone to get caught into the student loan debt. So we focus a lot on student loans. During the summer, we had volunteer opportunities for our students. 23 students took advantage of that. They accumulated 122 hours of service learning hours. We had 2 boot camps to Goucher College and Stevenson College. 6 students participated. And our signature event is the Next Gen Next Level event for the graduated seniors that was held in Baltimore. We had 1 person attend, but there was no bus. They had to provide their own transportation there and back. So it was great to see 1 person from Allegany County come. Hopefully we'll have more. I'm going to try and look into a bus because some of our students don't have transportation. So maybe we can get more students involved in that. Okay. Class of 22, 39 reported, 21 are in college, 3 are in the military, 14 went to the workforce, and 1 is in trade school. We held our first Next Generation Scholarship Challenge in conjunction with Allegany College of Maryland. 6 students participated. They went through certificate programs in welding, information technology, automobile technology. They were able to see what's available at Allegany College. We went to the makerspace, made t-shirts, did the 3D printing. So it was a good day for those students that participated, and hopefully it'll be a yearly thing that we can provide for the students of Allegany County. Our year 6 cohort, we have 100 students, 21 new students. I just want to direct you to the 10th and 11th grade. We're continuing to recruit. It's an opt-in program, so I don't have information of who's eligible. I have to pass out the opt-in paperwork to every 10th and 11th grade student. And you see the 58, those 58 started the Next Gen program, were exposed to the Next Gen program in the 8th grade. These students are getting exposed in the 9th grade. We recruit them in the 10th grade with the paperwork. And if you have children, I know I've had two, it's easier to get paperwork from them when they're in the 7th grade. When they get to the 10th grade, you kind of have to look through their book bag and you have to ask them maybe 20 times if they got something from school. So it does provide an obstacle, but as we build the program, I have more kids coming to my office. That 16 was from last week. We actually approved 2 on Monday, so we're up to 18 and 102 students. So the recruiting processes are ongoing. The main thing now is to get into the middle schools because students can pre-qualify for the grant between the 7th and 10th grade. And what that means is the Next Generation Scholar Grant is based on financial need. So if they pre-qualify, if they have that financial need in the 7th grade, should those circumstances change when they get to the 12th grade through marriage or hitting the lottery or whatever, how financial circumstances change, they still would be qualified for the grant because they were pre-qualified. And that's only for 7th through 10th graders. So it's really important, in my eyes, to get into the schools and get kids pre-qualified so that money is there if they want to go on to higher education in 11th and 12th grade. Because it's the financial line is a kind of a hard line. So if they're eligible now, people get promoted and different things happen in lives. So we want to get them eligible now. Okay. 10th grade, like I said, is the career tour. We actually completed the career tour today. We toured 22 students, toured Websterant, Centos, Carl Belt. They opened their doors to us. The employees gave a great lecture about showing up for work, showing up for school, and what it takes for certain careers. Some were interested in jobs right out of high school. They're working on possible internships for our students and helping them understand what careers take higher education. Carl Belt provided us lunch, Websterant provided us breakfast, and Centos provided us free 99 stuff, I like to say, stuff they just gave away. I call it free 99. So it was a great day for the kids. I think they learned a lot. They were excited to go. Those were 9 classroom sessions that I did prior to the career tour to let them know that the career tour was happening, and 22 students participated. Okay. 11th grade's mock interviews. I'll be in the classrooms, the 11th grade classrooms next week, working on resumes and interview skills. And in January, local community businesses will come in and actually do a mock interview. Last year, 121 students participated in the mock interviews. Year 6, we work on college acceptance. Big thing that I do is helping the students with the MD cap account so they can get funding from the state of Maryland. 20% has completed that, and 15% has completed the FAFSA, which is money for college as well. I'd like to get that boosted up higher, and I'll get into that in a second. Held MCAP week in October. We had a parent night and a FAFSA night. Few parents showed up. It's open to all parents in Allegany County for if you're at Mountain Ridge, Fort Hill, or Allegany. I had 4 college sessions providing information about college, scholarships, and acceptance. That's ongoing. I've had 2 parent nights so far. This year, I plan to have 5, 2 prior to the FAFSA deadline in March 1st, and 1 that I called a late scholarship funding for college that missed that FAFSA deadline. The MD cap deadline is a hard deadline of March 1st, so it's really important that they get that information. So I think we're ahead at 20%, but I'd like to see more. Okay. So far, the ones that have taken advantage of the parent and FAFSA night, I've had 6 students accepted that directly participated in the financial aid night. And through that participation, those colleges have provided $14,000 worth of funding prior to MDCAPS, prior to FAFSA. Just by being accepted, they were offered scholarships to partially pay for their schooling. So some of them are off to a good start. When they get their FAFSA decision and when they get the MDCAP decision, they can decide which schools, but these schools have already given out money for our students. Our Year 6 programming, planning a trip. We already went to University of Maryland, Baltimore City. We've done the Maryland Scholars in the 9th grade at Allegany, about 5 sessions, and we've done the career interest profile. So that's where we're at right now. We will have the Maryland Scholars for the 9th grade in Mountain Ridge and Fort Hill. Fort Hill scheduled for January, and Mountain Ridge is, I think, scheduled for March. Upcoming, our spring college trip is a decision between the University of Maryland College Park, which is going to be very popular around here. I may have to take 2 buses, or Bowie State. So we're going to work on that. Whichever confirms first, we'll get our students there, and it should be a good experience. I know the University of Maryland College Park is very popular, and students are looking forward to that. So hopefully that's the one. Nothing against Bowie, if they're watching. Okay. Parent nights, like I said, I have 3 more parent nights that are going to be available, mainly focused on financial aid, FAFSA, and the one thing I like to hit on is building the connection between the parent and the school. Our scholarship workshops, for those who are looking for extra funding, I have a scholarship workshop that shows parents and students how to find scholarships in 7 different ways, online, through crowdfunding, through the schools and local scholarships. I don't want money to come between a child and going to college. So I try and find the most available ways of scholarships, connecting with people that provide them, whether they're corporate, and see if we can. My goal is to have every Next Gen Scholar student pay 0 for college. Our mock interviews, like I said, classroom lessons, and volunteer opportunities. We have great businesses that really come out and help out with our mock interviews and coming into the classrooms just to meet and expose the kids to their workplace. Okay. My focus for 2023 is parent engagement. It is really transformational when a parent is engaged with the school. It can really help the academic success of the child. So getting parents involved has been difficult, but that's my selling point, is that it can transform your child's life. It can transform your grandkid's life. I know for me, it transformed my life. I'm a first-generation college student, and everyone after me has gone to college. I have nieces and nephews that have gone to college. My son and daughter, or my daughter went to college. My son is currently in college. So it's just a generational thing that it can be broken if we can get parent engagement. It just changes everything. Second thing is financial aid, and that still ties back into the parent engagement, because that's just necessary for FAFSA, it's necessary for MDCAPS, that we have certain information that needs to be provided to those agencies so the student can find the money for college if they need it, but also in the application process to colleges. Just really short, I used to ask my parents for money for movies, money for sneakers, and when I was a senior, I finally went to them and said, hey, I need $10,000 for college. I went from a $40 conversation to a $10,000 conversation. And my emphasis is you don't want to do that, is to make the connection now, to encourage parents to ask their child, what do you want to be? What do you want to do? What do you want to have as a lifestyle? Telling the students to go home, ninth and 10th grade and tell your parents, what do you want to do? What do you want to be? What do you want to have as a lifestyle? And start building that connection and having that conversation. I know for me, that conversation ended the minute I said $10,000 for college. It ended right there. So, excuse me. And continued recruitment of our students, 10th and 11th grade, making sure the middle school and the ninth graders know that we're an available resource, recruiting volunteers to the school, and also recruiting businesses to help out, bring about our program. This is our Facebook page, also my mbrt.org. Can provide more information about the Next Gen Scholar Program. It's in 4 other counties besides Allegany County. I left you with an infographic. If you have any questions from that, I'll try and answer them. But last but not least, I'd like to thank Ms. Cannon, Assistant Principal Scott Bauer, and Mr. Castle, all the teachers and administration at Fort Hill High School that allow me in the classroom, that allow me to pull students when needed, that allow students to come to my office, and also the other 2 high schools, Mountain Ridge and Allegany, for allowing me in there as well and being receptive to the information I have. But that is all. That's it. That's all. Says a clock on the wall. I like
Questions
to
for
say.
Mr. Webb?
Just one question. The scholar program is at Fort Hill, like you stated, but can other students within the county qualify, or is it just a program right now that's at?
It's just a program right now at Fort Hill. However, if they do qualify for the funding from the Next Generation Scholar Grant, I can provide that information. I can provide how to find those grants and scholarships to any high school student in Allegany County.
And then your parent programs that you were having, I think one of them you said anybody from Allegany could come. I think it was the financial.
Graduates, yes. The signature program, the Next Gen Next Level, yes.
Yes.
Yep.
So that communicating those out to the schools, do you have a problem? Like, I have a kid that's a high schooler who's in 11th grade and everything's at the bottom of their book bag, like you said, right? Like you have to dig down there and find the crumpled piece of paper. Do you have a place where it would be Facebook where you ahead of time tell people when things are going to happen?
Mm-hmm. Facebook page. I also send Ms. Cross events that are happening. They've been put out as well on the Allegany County Facebook page.
Okay.
So
thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? Okay, thank
Thank
you,
you very
Mr.
much.
Webb. We did not have anyone signed up to speak this evening, so we will move right into new business, and I will turn it over to Mr. Llewellyn.
Board members, you have before you Regulation KER1. This is our process for responding to inquiries and complaints from the general public. Policy Committee reviewed this upon the superintendent's request in an attempt to streamline the process a little more. It can be a cumbersome process. So we looked at it. We took some of the in-between stuff out. You can see the strikeouts to try to, it was all in an attempt to streamline it. So Policy Committee recommends this to you. It's a regulation, so it doesn't require a vote unless you want to send it back to the Policy Committee for further work. Absent a vote, it just becomes the regulation.
Any questions or concerns with the regulation? Okay. Is there a motion to meet in executive session January 10th, 2022, as necessary?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Farrell, second. Second by Dr. Bond. All in favor? Oh. Do I have to say anything? Deb's not voting because she won't be here. Can I just leave it at 4? Okay. Motion passes. Our student board member update. Ms. Kleist, do you have anything for us this evening?
Good evening. So the Allegany County Association of Student Council organizes meetings for the high school and middle school students that are involved in student council. And so we all kind of get together. Last month we met at Allegany. It was in between like Thanksgiving, so we did a gratitude pumpkin, so everyone kind of like wrote something they're thankful for. We did Thanksgiving cards for nursing homes, crafts, trivia. The big thing of these is just to bring students together from all of the schools, middle school, high school, kind of like get that perspective from like everything there. And we are currently looking to organize an event that is going to include 2 nearby counties, one of them being Garrett. And so that would kind of give us into like how nearby counties that are like demographically similar, how they're kind of doing things and see what connections we can make. And last thing I have is I know mental health is an increasing concern within high schools, middle schools, just schools in general. So there are a couple programs that been looking into to maybe implement if possible that would really just like improve this and then student performance. One of these being one that promotes mindful meditation, so like in and out of the classroom. So we're looking into some things like that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kleiss. Moving on to board member updates, I wanted to take a moment and recognize Ms. Lori Lepley, who is here this evening. She will be our newest board member joining us on January 10th. We look forward to working with you. And also recognize Ms. Frank, who is here for her last meeting with the board and has given 4 years of service. And we thank you for that and wish you well moving forward with whatever you're going to fill all this time with. You may speak.
Thank you, President Bender. Yes, it is indeed my last meeting, and I have to say that it has been probably the most humbling and rewarding board experience I've had. I serve on multiple boards in the county. This one's unique, not only the election component, which was quite a learning experience, but just the amount of responsibility that this position carries. So I wish you the best, Ms. Lepley, as you take this seat. I just wanted to quickly, because it is my last meeting, thank some people because these 4 years have flown by. First and foremost, the teachers and school administrators, thanking them for entrusting me with concerns and issues, knowing that I would not break confidence. And it was very interesting to me to observe people in action. I'm saddened that teachers, not only in this county but across the country, have been bearing the brunt of attacks, needless attacks, questioning their qualifications and their expertise. And I can say to everybody in Allegany County, rest assured, we have tremendous talent in this system. I would also like to thank Mr. Blank, the senior staff, the central office staff. There was never a second where I didn't request a piece of information. It was immediately given to me. You've all been so helpful, and that's been such a blessing. I would also like to thank the SMOBs, the student members of the board. I seem to always have been seated next to these very bright, articulate young people. That gives me great hope for the future. I hope future boards consider doing in this county what many other counties do in the state of Maryland, and that is to give some restricted voting rights to our SMOBs. They're valuable contributors to the conversation at this table. I also want to thank the parents and students who've reached out to me, constituents in this area with concerns, questions. I hope I've been very respectful in my responses to people, and that's always been the motto for me. And finally, my board members. I know that there are some people who are probably watching and anxiously awaiting for me to trash this board, but there's nothing further from the truth. I have been proud of what we've been able to accomplish, particularly in the areas of school safety, mental health, social work, or social program access and resources. So I'm incredibly proud. And I would say to people who like to point to disagreements that this board has had, that if everybody voted lockstep on every issue with no conversation, then that's not an effective board, because that means that you're not looking at every perspective and every angle. So I hope that I've been able to bring this to this board. I'll miss it. I'm actually very envious that you guys will get to do the work of the blueprint, because that's a very exciting time for Maryland and for the state of our education system in this state. So I am very envious with that. But I thank everybody. Happy holidays to everybody at home. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Frank. Is there anyone else with any updates or anything? to add? Dr. Bond?
I'd just like to say best wishes from the other side of the board table. So it's been a pleasure.
Anyone?
Just
Ms.
one-
Fraley?
One thing, I am serving on the Maryland Consortium for Community Supports and Coordinated Supports, I think it's called. And they are part of the blueprint and looking at services to give students and the community wraparound services, utilizing a concept of a hub and spokes. A hub is may not be the local boards of education, but the community in general, but the local boards being a piece of that. And I'm representing MABE on that committee, but also just representing the ability for those in Western Maryland to be part of these organizations that are working on that. So those meetings continue, and if anybody out in the community, we're trying to make sure that we get the voice of everybody, which is quite hard to do, especially when the larger voices are downstate where everybody is. And so we're just trying to make sure that if you have any questions about the blueprint and these supports, whether get with our staff here at Allegheny County, but also statewide, there's a lot of different areas you can go to, and you can see that on MSDE's website and the AIB website that she mentioned earlier too. It's all on there. And then I just want to say thank you to Deb for being my countermate for the past 4 years too, and I wish you luck.
Thanks.
And we still need your cookies, because my son told me to tell you that today. So thank you.
All right, anyone else? Motion to adjourn? Dr. Bond, second? Second by Ms. Frank. All in favor? Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.